Hello and welcome to CX Today. My name is Kieran and this is the latest in our big CX update series. In this session, I'm delighted to be joined by Buckley, CEO and co-founder of babelforce. Pierce, thanks for joining us.
Hi, Kieran, great to be here.
Brilliant. Well, let's dive in. It's looking an exciting year for babelforce. Can you give us some insights into your product roadmap for this year?
Well, we're investing in four different areas mainly, not just this year, but in general. But certainly the current focus is on four areas. And that's on, first of all, improving models for natural language processing. And the second area is improving the efficiency of omni-channel routing. The third area is allowing non-developers to create their own processes and algorithms, so what's like often called no-code development. And the fourth area is making it easy to add and maintain complex integrations. And I guess a lot of people would probably know about the first area at the moment because it's pretty hot with large language models and chat GPT, and you can hardly escape the thing, right? you know, it's just everywhere. And it's not only that. So we are doing for years now. I mean, for 10 years, we're investing in how to make it easier to understand and to transcribe, first of all, and then understand human speech, so natural language. And particularly on the speech side of things, where it's a lot more difficult than text. I mean, as everybody knows, right? If you're typing into ChatGPT, it's text only. Or, well, you can upload the images as well, but it's mainly a text-based conversation, and certainly on the output side, it's only text. And in any other kind of chatbot, it's similar. But of course, people use natural language first of all through speaking, right? It's the first mode that we learn as children, and it's still the most common mode for handling any major problems that you might have, right? So we invest quite a lot in that, and as you can probably imagine, understanding human speech is not as trivial as you might think, right? For humans, it's very easy for a human to understand when we say, "Hey, we'll meet next Friday," you know, that's pretty trivial. Or we'll meet on the 8th of June, you know. Also, you probably guess it's not, 8th of June in the following year, and you can probably understand what that is. But people say dates in an extraordinary range of ways. You say June 8th, 8th of June, first Wednesday, like it's the variability is just astonishing. And then of course the variability in people's voices and how they say things, and in and of itself, just the audio itself is, as we know, I mean, your accent, Kieran, is very different from mine. Both are very different. Both are very different from a non-native speaker of English from some other country, etc. So it's a non-trivial task, and luckily we live in a world now where the performance of speech transcription is better than it has ever been. It's in the low single-digit percentage error rates, which is why you can use it for so many tasks. So that's a huge area that we're investing in on those kind of speech models. That's the first area.
Brilliant. Yeah, fantastic. As a Glaswegian, I can tell the development and audio for speech translation has come on leaps and bounds from 5 years ago. Whenever I've been transcribing interviews in the past. Brilliant. And I guess more broadly, what would you say? What are the features and benefits you think these products and these developments will bring to your customers and to your partners? Babelforce has a wide range of partners recently over the next few years, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, I mean, we do a huge number of deployments and a lot of business with Salesforce and Zendesk and all the best known CRMs and ticketing systems in the world, and all the implementation partners around them, plus about, as you said, a whole suite of partners. Yeah. So what matters to customers, and like, why care, right? Yeah. So I'm excited as a natural language processing geek, and as CEO of Valforce, I'm excited about these technologies. But why does it matter? So most of the use cases that we are deploying are where we're automating routine tasks. So for as long as there have been contact centers, we have used human time to do really boring things, like extraordinarily dull, repetitive tasks, like For example, the most common being identifying a customer, just verifying that Kieran Devlin is Kieran Devlin. So what's your customer number? What was the last transaction on your account? Or some other security question. And a few years ago, there was no other way, but now it would seem preposterous, right, to put the very rare resource of skilled agents, skilled human agents in the contact center at such a task. So the vast majority of deployments that we're doing have something to do with that. So how do you take away those routine tasks? And of course, it's very valuable for businesses because agent minutes are more expensive and the rate of increase of cost of agents is also actually increasing because of the demographic changes in the developed world. There are just not there are not enough people actually to do those jobs. So that's one of the biggest areas, and that means a lot. So just to give you an example of what the sizing of these things are, if you take 45 seconds off of every call for doing that identity verification process, and you've got, let's say, 150,000 calls a month, which is not a lot. That's a small contact center. You're talking about somewhere between 500,000 and 3 or 4 million of savings in the year. So, right, as you can imagine, even though a contact center is an expensive part of the profit, of the cost part of the profit and loss statement, a few million off of a 10 million budget, right? It's a lot, or a few tens of million budget. So it's a huge amount. It can be, it can completely change your plans inside the contact center. And I think that's why even in these difficult economic times that we have, with the cost of living crisis and the energy crisis and everything, that's why there's still incredible investment and why conversational AI and automation for contact center is still a growth area, or like a very strong growth area.
Brilliant. That's really interesting. And I think just finally touching on this growth of conversational AI, where do you see it potentially impacting CX in the contact center specifically over the next 2 to 3 years, maybe more broadly as above what babelforce, what you guys are specifically working on?
Yeah, I mean the space is huge, and we're right. We're one of the innovative products in the area, but it's a massive area. So I think that I saw a very well thought out analysis just the other day by Daniel O'Connell from Gartner, uh, the analyst firm, where he had two extraordinary things in there. He said that uh, products lacking uh, lacking like large language model text-based conversational models using AI will be completely irrelevant by 2025. Like his estimate was about 25% of the offerings into the contact center. Or if we turn it the other way around, he's saying if you there is a race inside the contact centers to figure out how to make best use of this technology because your competitors are using it as well. So it's happening very fast. So I think your question being in the next few years is the right question, right? We're not talking about a decade or whatever. Because, of course, and it relates to the business case I mentioned earlier, if you're talking about that amount of money and you're talking about that huge digital transformation happening so quickly, then you can't really leave the field open to your competitors. It doesn't make a difference whether you're in e-commerce or a utility or an insurance company. It's a game people need to get into. So that's one area, I think. The other area where I think there's massive change is that in the past, the CCaaS space, the contact center or call center as a service, right? So the main part of the contact center software market, in some ways, it was the main product you sought out first, right? But now we're seeing a huge shift, and I think the other quote from Daniel O'Connell was, um, the tail is wagging the dog, and the tail being conversational AI and the dog being CCAS. And I think that's partially true. Like you asked me earlier about what we're working on with customers, and the vast majority of companies are trying to figure out how to what is their approach to managing this huge transformation around conversational AI. And so that's where the investment is going, and it's being done kind of irrespective of the decisions that you're making around your CCAS solution. So that's a massive change, right? That's I think in the 22 years I've been in the business in the contact center industry, that's the first time that I've seen that kind of momentum from a, let's say, a relatively new entrant from a innovation or technology point of view.
Definitely. I think if we were to have this conversation this time next year, it would be there would be a whole host of different innovations and different developments that we could base a wide-ranging half-an-hour conversation about. I think that's maybe a great place to end. But it's been a really good session, and so thank you to Pierce of babelforce for joining me today.
Great to be here, Kieran. Thank you very much for having me on.
And if you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share on social media, and we'll see you next time. I've been Kieran Devlin of CX Today. Thanks for watching.